For me, the woods were Missouri and Stillwater, Minnesota. Part 1, 1844 to 1865. Chapter 1. The Missouri River became the River Acheron, and John Brown, instead of Caron, held the job as the master of the ferry. Don't mistake me. I don't hate this fine state. I never cared much for any man or woman who disparaged his or her home. I love Missouri. Lee's Summit, Blue Springs, and Sinai Bar Creek, the woods and the dogs, and even some schoolhouses I attended, corn pone, Ma's biscuits, and pig pickings, and the finest horses and mules you'll find anywhere in this country. Yet when I was growing up, Parson, and even after I became a grown man, Missouri turned into the worst kind of hell. Long before you were born, kids everywhere played rolling pins, hopscotch, shuttlecock, quoits, hide-and-seek, and marbles. The most popular game at our house, however, was Old John Brown. Unless you grew up in western Missouri in the mid to late 1850s, that's a game unfamiliar to you. It was pretty simple. On our farm it usually went something like this. On account that my baby brothers, John and Bob, were too little to get picked on, Brother Jim got to play the fine Missouri farmer. John, you see, didn't come around till 1851, with Bob trailing 2 years later. We had a mighty big family, but I always thought we were short a mite on boys. Sadly, all of my brothers would be dead by 1902, and today even many of my sisters have gone to glory. We young'uns numbered 14, though a fever took sweet Alfie in 1852 when she was but 2 years old. As the seventh surviving child born to Henry Washington Younger and Beersheba Leighton Fristow Younger, I joined an already good-sized family on January 15th, 1844. Laura, Isabella, who everyone called Belle, and Martha Ann came along first, followed by my older brother, Charles Richard, who went by Dick. Dick was the best of the boys, 6 years my senior. Old beyond his years, he would be the younger brother that might have amounted to something fine, real fine. Anyway, I don't recollect ever playing anything with him, for he kept busy ciphering figures and helping Pa. After Dick, Mary Josephine, we always called her Josie, and pretty Caroline were born. Caroline got the handle Duck, on account that we usually found her down by one of the ponds as a little girl, quacking like ducks. Sarah, Sally, Ann, Jim, and Alfie followed Caroline and me. John, Emily, and Robert came after the Almighty took baby Alfie into his arms, and finally baby Henrietta, who everybody knew as Retta, was born. I remember one neighbor telling Pa, "There's enough of you youngers to make your own militia." Turns out history would prove Mr. McCorkle to be practically right. Getting back to old John Brown, we would be outside, usually near the barn or corral, and Jim would be making out like he was shucking corn. Sometimes he really would be shucking corn, because we youngers could play and work at the same time, or working a plow behind a mule, just doing the hard daily work on any farm. Then out I would stride, all high and mighty, and start preaching blood and thunder, hell and damnation. Jim would stop whatever he had been doing and yell, "What are you doing here, John Brown? This is Missouri, not Kansas." Pretending to be old John Brown, I would tell him something like, "I am what I am, and you are Missouri trash." So we'd get to tussling, and sometimes, in the spirit of things, I'd box Jim's ears. One time I remember I must have hit Jim a little harder than I intended.